Good morning, everyone. Late start today, some technical difficulties, but I am Freddie Burns, filling in for Phil Stifle on Trending in the AM. Very happy anniversary to him and his wife. I believe he said 18 years. Hope I didn't mess that up. Enjoy Cancun. Have a great time. Ton to talk about today. We are going to continue the Eagles talk. Continue. Why did the Eagles lose? Because there's a slew of reasons, and then there's a ton of debate on Twitter. People, scolding other people for opinions this way or the other. We'll dive into all that. All during this, the Phillies get a win last night. The Braves lose. The magic number is now down to 1, and playoff time is around the corner. We'll talk about Eagles, Phillies, and then maybe mix in some Sixers and Flyers if you want. Trending in the AM in 60 seconds. Welcome into Trending in the AM. I am not Phil Stifle. I am Freddie Burns, your host, filling in for him today. You saw his beautiful view yesterday and Monday in Cancun, but today is his actual anniversary, so he's taking the day off, rightfully so. Happy anniversary to him and his wife. I hope they have an amazing time there in Cancun. It looks beautiful, but we have a ton to talk about today. The Eagles lose Monday night. They snatch, what's the line? I heard it yesterday on Phil's show, and they snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. I think that's the way that the term. So that happened on Monday night. Just such a devastating loss to even stay up for that, and you get there to the final end. But I'll say, when Scott Van Pelt had that little segue into that final drive for the Falcons, and he said, it looks like the home team will be the winning locker room. I'm like, oh, why did you say that? Kind of mushed us there. Because all day the defense wasn't good. So you always knew there was an opportunity for a comeback to happen. So that kind of scared me there. But we're going to get into that. Jalen Hurts, the play calls, penalties. Not many people are talking about penalties. There were some crucial penalties that we capitalized on. The defensive line was a huge thing. The edge rushers, which linebacker, D-line, I'll put them in the D-line category. No pressure at all. Other players on the interior defensive line making noise in limited snaps. Ton of stuff to get into. But first, I just want to thank our amazing sponsors, PhillySportsTrips.com, Sherry'sTicketTown.com, David R. Cherry, bring them cherry bombs, baby. And, of course, Dolan's Bar and Delco. We'll get into each one of them individually as the show goes on. But let's kick this off with the third down play, okay? The third down play has been a huge, back and forth on Twitter. Should they have run the ball on third down? Should they have not? Listen, you can have your opinion either way on this. But to, condescendingly attack one opinion to the other is ridiculous to me, because you can look at it either way. So face value, as we see it, if Saquon Barkley catches the pass, the game is over. The Eagles win. Surprise call, good call, as far as the Eagles need to execute the calls. Now, if you want to weigh it, and we're going to go towards my opinion here, percentages, and Hey, yeah, is that a smart call to trick the defense and end the game? Is it an aggressive call? Yes. So I don't particularly hate the call in general, but I do hate the, what's the word I'm looking for here? I hate the call in the sense of game situation and how much time's left on the clock and what your defense has been doing up until that point. Because the defense hadn't done that well. I know the points were low and it was kind of more of a bend, don't break style, but the Falcons moved the ball pretty easily on the Eagles, and there were some penalties that saved them. I know there was one play early on. Reed Blankenship got smoked by Ray McLeod, and Kirk Cousins just couldn't get it to him. So, as far as defense goes, there was a strong chance that the Falcons could drive the ball down the field. So, if you're Nick Sirianni, in my opinion, you run the football there at all costs because it's more important to take the 35, 40 seconds off the clock than it is to risk the chance of an incomplete pass giving them a free timeout. Two ways you could have done this, okay? One is you go for it on both downs. That could have been the mindset. We were running the ball pretty well, I would say. There were times actually we went away from the run, and I didn't even understand why we went away from the run. You could have ran the ball on third down. Let's say he gets stopped. I don't think he gets stopped for a huge loss, though. I feel like if anything, you fall forward for 1 or 2 yards, then you do the push on fourth down. Game's over that way. That's one way to look at it. And then in that scenario, you're not only wasting 40 seconds off the play clock, you're probably wasting another 5 within your play call. 5, 6 there within your play call on fourth down. If you're turnover on downs, now the Falcons need to go the length of the field. Now, everyone's like, oh, well, then they would have won the game on the length of the field. Well, no, because the Falcons would have played it totally different starting that far down. And their approach would have been, hey, we just need 3. We just need 3. So they would have took probably some more underneath stuff that would have, resulted in them going for a field goal as opposed to a touchdown, and there would have been much less time on the clock. And I think that was the move. The other route is you go for it on third down, you waste the 40 seconds off the clock, you're stopped, you kick the field goal, kick it off to them. It's very likely that they still drive down the field there, but there would have been a 40 less seconds on the clock. That final play, I believe there was 39 seconds left on the touchdown. So, do they get that play off? Do they get down there that fast? I believe that they should not have thrown the ball to Saquon Barkley, even though the play was correct. I mean, if he catches it, the game's over. All right, let's get to some comments here. Anthony Aids popping in. Vic Fangio needs to be fired. Come on, man. We're in week 2. Fired? Fired. Come on, man. Come on, Anthony. How do you let Kirk Cousins win like that? I mean, it was happening all day, Al. I don't know why we're stunned. And Kirk Cousins has done this in this league. He's Jekyll and Hyde, but he's done this plenty of times in this league. I understand he's not the greatest quarterback, but he's not the 30th ranked quarterback, and he's certainly capable of putting together a drive like that. Morning, Mitch. How you making out, Mitch? Hope you're well, buddy. Check out Mitch on Thursday evenings here on Edge of Philly Sport. Thursday evenings, I believe 7:30 p.m. on Edge of Philly. Brian Brown checking in. The Barkley play didn't decide the game. It sucks, yes. How about not going for 3 points early? How about not blitzing Cousins? Some of the boneheaded play calling. Brian, I want to jump into all that, actually. My next topic after I get through some of these compacts is certainly going to be the 3 points early on. And the play calling both sides of the ball. Brian Brown, agree 100%. This loss is on the coaching staff. I agree for the most part there. Who is this young fellow? What's up, K1? How you making out, buddy? What am I, my morning wrinkles showing? So you're breaking my stones already? Thanks for checking in there. Is this Bill Burr's little brother? Dude, you have no idea, K1. I'll take that as a compliment. Bill Burr is my favorite comedian, hands down. He's been for a long time. And if you ever get a chance, you probably saw it. Anyone listening, go YouTube Bill Burr attacking Philadelphia sports fans. He's at some event. This is way before internet the way it was. So the the video's not great. I guess it's from someone's maybe old school Samsung, type of flip phone type video, and the Philly fans are booing the crap out of this guy, Bill Burr. And for those who don't know who he is, and he just starts hammering trash and talking Philly in general. He goes off his little stick, and then the Philly fans start to respect it and end up cheering him. It's pretty cool. But why don't we run the ball? James, first quarter, I note it down. Sometimes I'll sit there and just take notes because I just, it's fun for me to do that. I'm not like a beat writer or anything like that, but I just like doing that. And that was one of my things. Both sides of the ball. Why did the Falcons and Eagles in that first quarter stop running the football? They were gashing each other. They both decided to pass, and it just ruined both drives. Good morning, honey. I didn't notice any difference in play calling from last year. Is Kellen Moore really calling those plays? Yeah, I think there's differences. There's a ton of target-wise, you're right. So then it kind of points me to Jalen, and I want to get into the targets. One of them being Jahan Dotson only had 1 target. Britton Covey has 7 targets. They were force-feeding that bubble screen, to your point, Barbara. But there was motion and different things. Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it Jalen Hurts not getting to the reads? I think he was getting to the reads. I think overall Jalen Hurts played a good game, especially if you're getting a Grant Calcaterra on some plays. That means you're certainly going through your reads and progressions. I've got, and I'm using all of them. Yeah, Kaylon. He's referencing the Bill Burr. Bothers me that people say they're not going to watch the Eagles game next week. They end up watching the game. I mean, people do this all the time. Like, I'm moving to Canada. I'm not watching the NFL ever again. I'm this, I'm that. Like, it's an emotional response that's totally false. And they will calm down and then watch the game. And if they don't, they don't. Oh, well. I'm sure the Eagles aren't missing out on the 2 tweets that someone tweeted that out. Hurts is on pace for 200 carries. I liked the mobility on Hurts last night or Monday night. I loved it. It was 20-22 Hurts in the second quarter using both. I wish he would slide. I don't like the up the middle, lower in the shoulder stuff. I do like that he was using his mobility. Dave Yarnell checking in. What's going on, Freddie? Dallas sucks, Dave. As always, what's going on? Thanks for checking in. I got to get that ugly star off. I probably can't put another comment up because that star is just so ugly, Dave. So ugly. I live in Canada. Watch it. Marshawn, what's up, man? Thanks for checking in. Why didn't the offensive line? Funny. I think Ryan Reynolds did a thing on one of the talk shows, and he's like, "Stop saying you're moving to Canada. We don't want you. We don't want you. You're not coming here. Pick another country." It was pretty funny. Wade Workman. Why didn't the offensive line jump when the Atlanta player entered the new? All right, this is a big one, Wade. That's another one I want to talk about. I'm going to hit on it right now before I get on the early points thing. I don't think he was offsides. I think it was very borderline that he entered the neutral zone, and that's why they didn't jump. I didn't realize it till the next day. There was a ton of video tweets on it from various people. I don't think the person was offsides, and you're allowed to come up to the line and come back. So would they have called it? I don't know. Nick Sirianni seemed pretty fired up about it, but I also think Nick was over emotional about it and maybe like wrong. So when you look at the video, should he have been screaming, "Get your head in the effing game"? I don't know. He was a little over the top. Coaching was certainly an issue, and I think his overreaction was one of them as well. Hurts is on pace for 34 turnovers. He's been a turnover machine since midway last year, and it's Carson Wentz-esque. When Carson Wentz was the quarterback, I refused to see it. I decided to look at the stats as well. I'm not going to do that with Jalen Hurts. The turnovers are a problem, but it was more fumbles and careless throws. I don't think Hurts, the final play was a bad throw and a bad situational. It reminded me of A.J. Brown bomb in the Seattle Monday night game. He has to hold on the ball, but I thought overall he played much better and was more like the Hurts we have seen in the past. I'm on pace for a liver transplant. If it's alcohol related, I've cut mine back significantly to try to put lives on my life. But if you're referencing the amount of alcohol the Eagles are forcing you to drink, I hear you. Freddie, I swear Sirianni is so arrogant. He is arrogant. He's humble at times, but then he gets very arrogant, annoyingly arrogant. I think this goes back, and I've said it multiple times, this Hurts Sirianni kind of clash goes back to the Chiefs Super Bowl game when the game is not over and Sirianni's celebrating on the sidelines like wildly, and in the first half, I believe it was, or maybe early, first half when the Eagles go up big, and Hurts is calming them down, like, yo, come on, man. And since then, I kind of was like, you know what, man, you're almost too, you're that trash talker that goes too far, the one that trash talks too much and then gets burnt, which we've seen. Has there been a rule change? Because why didn't Nick tack on the penalty yards on the kickoff? Yeah, I questioned that too, Marshawn. They took it right. They elected to make it a 48-yard extra point. That's a good question. I'm not sure if you had the ability to do that or not, because why? That's an interesting one, because you make it a 48-yard extra point. That's smart too, in a sense, because if they miss that extra point, we have a tie game as well. You can look at it both ways. 48 yarders aren't what they used to be, though. They're much easier nowadays. My trade to the Chiefs Kingdom is pending, but I'm out, Pheasants. My trade to Chef's Kingdom is pending, blood work. I'm out, Peasants. I don't get that one. Thanks for all the comments. I'm going to get into my my next kind of topic here that I one more barber checking in. He celebrated Monday night too with 5 minutes left after he stopped him on fourth down. I'm cool with the initial run down, grab CJ, excited. I'm cool with that. But the arrogant celebration annoys me. Speaking of that, CJ Gardner-Johnson definitely took his helmet off 100%. All right, let's dive into some of the other reasons here that the Eagles lost. And another one that's being beat around is going for it early in the first half, first quarter on fourth down and not taking the points. Personally, I'm old school. I am a take the points guy. I certainly, especially if it's 4th and 1 and you got a push involved, let's just run it. Let's be aggressive and do it. More than that, where you don't have an almost guarantee, especially early on, I want to take the points. I just, that's the way I am. Now, Sirianni has always been aggressive. Kellen Moore's calling the plays, so I guess Sirianni says, hey, let's go for it. And then Kellen Moore makes the call. I would say, though, even though I am a take the points guy and there's plenty out there, you can't blame the game on that. There was a comment earlier getting into that. Yeah, I think it was Brian Brown. Yeah, Brian did it's how about not going early on? And I'm not saying you're saying that, Brian, but a lot of people are trying to say, hey, if we kicked the field goal, then we would have won the game because we lost by 1. I don't think that's the case whatsoever. The game evolves and changes and adjusts throughout that. Would the points have helped? Depending on whatever the scenario would have been there late in the game? Yes, certainly. But the Falcons may have approached things differently. The Eagles may have done things differently with that field goal throughout the course of the entire game. So I can't solely blame it, but I'm 100% with everyone saying that take the points. Let's take the points. Freddie, I requested a trade. Oh, man, you can't do that after all their Super Bowls, Marshawn. That's Dallas Cowboy early 90s-esque comments right there. You can't jump ship. You got to pick if you're going to jump ship, and you shouldn't jump ship, you got to pick a crap team. You can't pick the winning team. That's front runner-esque stuff right there. Speaking of Cowboys fans, every single one of them in the Philadelphia area either did what Marshawn's doing right here. The Eagles stunk, so they jumped on the winning team, or their parents were on the winning teams in the 70s that they jumped on when the Eagles sucked. And then they act like, oh, well, my mom or my dad rooted for him and raised me. But it all goes back to being a front runner, by the way. Quick shot at all the Cowboys fans listening out there. Saquon catches the game ball. We win. Full stop. Let's talk Flyers. We already discussed this, K1. It doesn't matter, though. It's the whole point is, why would you call the play, though? Why would you risk the potential drop incomplete pass? Good morning, fam. What's up, Eric? How are you? Welcome in. Mr. Sandman's helmet came off by accident, but he celebrated with his helmet off instead of putting it back on. I got to watch it again. It really seemed like it was loose and he ripped it off. I'd have to look at it again. My therapist suggested me being a Swiftie, Taylor Swift fan. Good songs, good music. My daughter's a Swiftie. I'm a fan. Welcome to New York. That one, I kind of like that one. Cowboys are done this year. So are the Ravens. I don't think so. I think they'll both battle back as well as the Eagles will. I bleed Kelly Gang Green. I'm an 80s baby. Heck yeah, Eric. At what year in the 80s? I'm 85. So at 5 years, I was like kind of a kid growing up, but I always hated Dallas no matter what. I remember drawing on my pencil case. All the girls that would wear the starter jackets because I like the store, I like the colors, and then even guys wouldn't necessarily say it that way. It made me so annoyed. Taylor Swift is underappreciated. Underappreciated genius, dude. She's not underappreciated. She's like she is the top pop star out there right now. 1980. All right, so you're like 10 when I'm starting coming into the football world. 80s rule, Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, Team 80s right here. All right, let's get to this. All right, so there we got to that. And then the other gripe everyone's revisionist looking at is the defense. Fire Vic Fangio comments we had earlier here. Fire Vic Fangio. That's not happening. That's ridiculous. He's a good defensive coordinator, but he has lapses and he's not the aggressive Jim Johnson guy that we all want. And you're not going to see the blitzes. Phil has talked about that on this show. Anyone that follows it knows, that that's not the style. We're going to try to bring pressure with the edge rushers. He's going to use, disguising a 5-man front, sending the edge rusher, then pulling a D lineman back. He's going to use those type of schemes. Should he have blitzed more? I don't know. It's hard to say should he have blitzed more because our D-backs weren't covering well either. I think safety is a huge issue. CJ Gardner-Johnson is good there, but Reed Blankenship is a hole, and they're covering up for him. And he was beat multiple times that throws weren't made at times. And I think it's a hard scheme when your safety's off the top. And then there's bad the players would jump routes without a safety there to behind them. I think it was CJ Gardner-Johnson on the touch. Was it a touchdown? It ended up being a touchdown. Tried to jump the route, missed it. No one was behind to help. Ended up being a touchdown for the Falcons. But we could scheme it up all we want. The players are a damn issue. And I'm going to start first with the interior of the defensive line. And I'm calling out Jalen Carter, who improved throughout the game to at least earn me like you can still be a starter. I know this guy's supposed to be the next Jerome Brown. I followed him at Georgia, yada, yada, yada. But to not get penetration every damn play is atrocious to me. He started too late in the game. It really helped him. The CJ Gardner-Johnson, huge smack up the middle, smack on 4th down to turnover on downs with the helmet coming off. Jalen Carter's the reason for that. He blew his man off the ball, forced Bijan right. The guy had him. His defender was still blocking him, but the penetration forced Bijan right, smack with CJ there. So he earned me back. Jordan Davis is a problem. Okay. I know he batted the ball down in the first quarter that stopped a potential drive by Kirk Cousins. But the reason he batted the ball down is because he didn't get no penetration on the pass rush. I'm getting tired of Jordan Davis, so much so I think Jordan Davis should be benched this week. Jordan Davis should sit the bench, and they should start. You would think you would say Milton Williams, who had a good game, solid game, nice huge tackle. But I'm going to say a guy that none of us really have heard of, or he makes the squad, Thomas Booker IV came to play. And maybe if his snaps are extended, he's not going to play at the level that he played. But I'll tell you, man, anytime that guy was in, either there was penetration or there was a play being made. He had 9 snaps, 3 tackles, 3 solo tackles, which led the team. He also had 2 tackles for a loss, the 3 solo tackles did not lead the team. It led the defensive line. He led in tackles for loss, which led the team with 2 tackles for loss. Thomas Booker IV stepped up and was tremendous. Him and Milton Williams. Again, Carter, I think, earned the right to at least get another spot. But I'm at the point here. I've seen a year of Carter, 2 years of Davis. Like Vic Fangio's all about if you play hard enough, if you earn the spot, you get it. It should be given to them. They should be given the opportunity there. I think, because clearly with the success they've had. And then just move Jordan Davis in on the rotation. Maybe he needs to be a rotation guy. He's clearly gassed. So that's what I feel on the interior defensive line. Moving on the outside, Brandon Graham is as good as he's ever been. His motor is amazing. I agree with Vic. That face mask that killed us, but he got in the backfield multiple times. Fine with Brandon Graham. Josh Sweat had a few plays, but there's multiple times he had single coverage, single matchup on the edge, and he's just not getting there enough at all. It's a huge problem if our edge rushers aren't getting to the quarterback or even causing hurries. But the main gripe is Bryce Huff. I mean, to pay that money for a guy and him put up the numbers he's putting up, he essentially was non-existent on the field on Monday night. And they pay way too much money for him. And this whole Reddick trade thing was like, I'm like, whatever. Now I'm starting to be like, hey, do you think you could just swap them? Like, let's talk to Reddick, be like, hey, dude, come back. We'll give you a little bit of money. We'll let you be on your way next year. You go to free agency, get paid what you got paid. If he would agree to it, I would trade Huff right back for Reddick right now. Just flip-flop him right now. The defensive line was the reason, the number one reason the defense stunk on Monday night. Now we have some more comments coming in. Let's pull them back in. 100% Barb. Eric and Barb getting a little convo going. Hi, Eric. I want it to defensive coordinator that the 49ers fired. Oh my gosh, what is his name? You're on point here, Eric. I wanted them to try to scoot back Denard Wilson. I don't hate Fangio though. I actually wanted the offensive coordinator, Zach Robinson of the Falcons, over Kellen Moore, who he coached an okay game. I thought he could have ran the ball more. Salute. Eagles couldn't stop the run. If you can't stop the run, you can't stop the pass. And that starts with what I'm saying. The interior of the defensive line got no push. If they got pushed, then the linebackers could have filled, and then you stop the run. You have to stop the run, though. I agree. I want Jalix. I'm with you. Let's roll. Let's see what other guys can do already. I know it's week 2, but like we saw this last year. And then we know Bryce Huff is not an every down guy from what he did with the Jets. And maybe he's not being used correctly. And maybe Howie's signings are not in line with, I think Phil said this yesterday, are not in line with the roster. Howie is better at trades than draft, I think. Oh, 100%, Barbara. I will never give – that guy cannot draft at all. At all. And it's proven. Everyone gets excited in the beginning, and then we get to year 3, and the players are like, eh. Now, he's probably better at the late undrafted guys. I'll give him credit for going up and get Devontae Smith. But, and Jalen Carter was the right pick, and that may pan out well. But did they trade up for Jordan Davis? They could have took the Notre Dame safety, Hamilton. That's definitely, but they don't take safeties for some reasons. I'm with you. I don't think Howie's good at drafting. I don't think he listens to the scouts as much. I think he's all over the place. I think some years he listens to the scouts, other years he picks like the Mel Kiper board. I liked this draft this past year besides Jalix Hunt, but he has shown promise, as they say in preseason and training camp. But we all know that means nothing. Like the Jalen Hurts stat with the interceptions was ridiculous. So training camp, we need to see him on the regular season field. K1, I'm team Ajomo. I forgot him. You're right. Ton of penetration from him as well. Let's rotate Ajomo, Williams, and Booker the 4th. And then and then let Carter stay with his normal rotation and like send a message to Jordan Davis. I really feel that way. They played so much at Georgia, and they were just a part of a collective team defense and a great defensive mind in Kirby Smart that I just don't know that they've ever had the adversity to. It needs to be thrown like, yo, you're not cutting it. You're sitting down, or a huge cut in playing time. I blame it on coaching. This team is a bloopers reel. They look lost on defense and on offense. I don't think they look lost on offense. I just think the play calling, wasn't wasn't spectacular, to try to force feed us this Britton Covey, wide receiver bubble screen is just, I mean, try it twice. But once you saw the guy reach out with one arm and tack on with one arm, it's like, unless you got him wide open in open space, he's not going to do anything. You can't call that play. It's not open. There's defenders there ready for it. Every team's ready for it. I remember we were running it with Josh Huff all the way back to Chip Kelly. I mean, that play, does it ever work? Does it ever? Jalen Rieger, we ran it. We ran it last year multiple times. Does it ever work? Never. I keep saying if the problem with the team is the next man up is not instilled in this team. Okay, yeah. Well, you're saying as far as next man up, they have no, like I'm saying, they have no fear they're going to lose their job. I think that's what you're saying. If you are, I agree. I wanted McQueen, not Huff. Yeah. I don't think. Oh, Bryce Huff. Yeah. Patrick McQueen. Yeah. I mean, come on, but they're not gonna. Did they move Patrick McQueen to the outside at all, or no? I know at Georgia, or I mean Alabama, he was interior. I don't know that they would. I would take McQueen over Devin White certainly. Does Freddie do ad reads? Oh, K1. Perfect, because Freddy got so caught up in the conversation. And I'm normally like behind the scenes, if you probably don't know this, a stickler for the ad reads. So I'm like, hey, you got to get the ad reads in. So you're spot on there. So thank you for reeling me back in there, K1. And our first ad read is going to be from Philly Sports Trips. And they got a multitude of trips coming up. The most soon one is the Tampa Bay takeover, September 29th. We're literally, 12 days away. You can still get in there, get a trip to beautiful Tampa. They're doing it the right way, too. You stay in Clearwater, and then you go to the game over at Tampa. Beautiful, beautiful area. It's still summertime-esque down there in Florida. It's always summer, but I'm saying like late fall it's beautiful. It's perfect. Get down there, book a trip today. They also have a bus trip going to New York to welcome Saquon back to New York. Huge bus trip there, $400, all you can eat. Surprise, Eagles players going to be there. Former Eagles players, not current. Great food, top of the line food, amazing food. Go check that out. Book a trip there. We're going to Baltimore as well. I am personally going to the Baltimore trip. That's going to be awesome. The price of these tickets, assuming Baltimore and the Eagles have the seasons we expect them both to have, this is going to be a huge AFC NFC matchup. And then you can always go to Dallas. Take a trip down to Dallas November 10th. The Eagles are due for a win down in Big D too, so this might be the year that they win. Shout out to K1 again for reminding me about the darn ads. The scheme is making good players look bad. I don't know that. Like what good players, Jack? I mean, as far as interior defensive line goes, you hit the guy in front of you and you penetrate him into the backfield. We're all in this together, fam. Teamwork makes the dream work. Tampa Bay takeover. What takeover? This team is doing Frederick. You spelled my name right, Fred Urich. You're the fucking man, Martian. Did I pause on the F on the U there? I hope I probably shouldn't have cursed on the air. But dude, you are the man. Most people put Frederick. You put the ERICK. Yeah, well, fan takeover, and we will take over because those fans really don't show up. Tampa Bay is overachieving so far. Yeah, I'm surprised with Baker. I was a huge Baker hater coming out, and he stunk for most of his year, but he seems to be carving a nice little niche over there as a nice little, move the offense type guy. It might be, Mark Sanchez-esque for them. You know how Mark Sanchez, got on a little run with us and then it hit a wall? That might be happening. I typed that wrong. The problem with this team is we lack the next man up approach. No AJ Brown, Goddard. You had half the targets to AJ done. And what about getting the ball to Jahan Dotson? You spent a third round pick for this guy. He's been here for 3 weeks. He had one target. He had a solid year last year on a bad Redskins Commanders team. And And yet we can't get him the ball when A.J. Brown's out. A.J. Brown is likely out this week, as they said on the telecast as well. We need Dotson involved. Otherwise, why did we make this trade? Baltimore or the Commanders game, I want to take the bus trip down. It's pretty cool too, Steve, because a lot of times these trips you get a few days in, and it takes a lot out of your schedule, whether it's work or Edge of Philly or you're covering the Union. Check out Steve, amazing coverage on the Union here on Edge of Philly Sports Network. But these trips you're up and back one day, so it's great. Why would defensive corner want to run a pay? I mean, that's what he runs. It's like Jim Schwartz. The problem is he's not stopping the run. Jim Schwartz always stopped the run. But we knew this going in, Jack. It's no surprise. He'll send blitz here and there. The object is for I'm not saying I agree with this. I want a blitzing guy too, but I'm just saying he's not a bad defensive coordinator. He's had success in this league, including with Miami last year at times. Till the injuries happened in Miami, the defense was pretty surprisingly solid over there. But you're going to send the first 5, and then they're going to get pressure on their own, and then you send blitzes here and there. It's not a blitz all day long type defense, and it's not going to be. But the defensive line then and the edge rushers that you paid have to get pressure. To get no pressure on your man one-on-one, I can't blame that on Vic Fangio. Bryce Huff on a tight end one-on-one, and he can't get to the quarterback. That ain't on Vic. Technically, a D lineman isn't supposed to penetrate against the run. They're supposed to. No. That depends on the defensive scheme, and I disagree with the gap integrity. I think you should penetrate the line looking for the ball. That's my personal opinion. And when they did that on Monday night, they stopped the run. Hence, Jalen Carter blowing the guy off the ball, and then C.J. Gardner-Johnson sticking the hole. You are correct, though. Teams do play that style. I disagree with it, and I think it's clear. I don't think that's the style the Eagles are running, especially if they're not going to send a blitz. They need to get penetration from the actual lineman, and you can't just like every play look up and see if it's a run or a pass. I don't think that, but I could be wrong if Vic wants them to do that on the run. They actually, Bonner High School, Monsignor Bonner in Delco, Drexel Hill, I went to, and that was our scheme, and I thought it was terrible, but pointless. You would just sit on the line waiting for someone to come. Let's see, here we go. Barbara, Falcons gashed us in the run game. Yes, and I think that has to do with the penetration. Jalen Hurts is not good at assimilating new weapons. Yeah, Jack, I'm back and forth on this. I thought Hurts had a good game outside of the, he was getting it. I thought he was going through his progressions and wasn't bailing the pocket early. He had a nice touchdown pass where he stayed in the pocket to Devontae Smith back in the end zone. He had some plays that the ball got to Grant Calcaterra, which tells me he's going through his progressions, because I don't think they're setting up plays for Grant Calcaterra. But then I go look at the stat sheet. I see Britton Covey, 7 targets. Jahan Dotson, 1. Goddard had, I think, 3. These are people that should get the ball. So I'm still trying to figure out if it's him or the play call, because the Covey stuff was definitely the play calls. They were force feeding us that wide receiver screen. Steve, the quicker we can get A.J. Brown on the phone with David R. Cherry, the quicker he can get back to work. What do you say? He's milking his injury? He has an injury law. He needs some workers' comp for his injury. Doesn't bend, but don't break scheme. Keeps your guys on the field longer and tiring them out. It does, but even Jim Johnson adjusted to this, but he still sent the blitz. I don't mind the bend, don't break scheme, actually. As long as your offense is on the field for a significant amount of time. What got Chip Kelly and Billy Davis screwed up is they would do this philosophy, but then Chip Kelly would have the offense 3 and out in 30 seconds, and then you're back on the field. As long as the offense can sustain drives, it can work. David R. Cherry maintains gap integrity. Yes, he does. And we're holding his ad. It's coming. But before we get to some cherry bombs and David R. Cherry, I can't talk this morning. I apologize. Still haven't had my coffee. We need a spot to get tickets to these games. And if you need a place to get tickets, we got to take this comment off first, though. I'm butchering this one, guys. Last time I did the show, I crushed all these ads. I'm all thrown off now that K1 called me out. But if you need tickets to the game, we got them for you. It's Sherry's Ticket Town, sports concert theater, great hidden prices, no fees. Go to www.sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Concerts and theater are another underrated part of this. I know I went to Disney on Ice with my kids a few years back, got the tickets. I think it was like $80 per ticket, 2 rows off the ice, and then on the other venues it was like 120 to do that. And then I had no, it was $60. Then I had then you plop in the promo code EOP10, get another 10% off, and then I look like the best ad ever. And we had amazing seats, and I didn't spend $500. So amazing. Go to Sherry's Tickets, especially on any Eagles games too. It's just match them up. If you match them up against the fees with the promo code EOP10, they're going to be a win, especially game day of is a nice little trick. Wait till the day of, or even hours before, the prices across the board drop. So as I continue to butcher these ads, hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Comments. I appreciate them coming in. You guys are flying in, and I can't even keep up with them. I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know if Jalen is such a perfectionist that we won't try a new target, or if Nick is so scared to think outside the box that he just shrinks the offense. Nick's not calling the plays, though. We got to remember that. It's Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore's calling the plays. Whatever it is, it bleeds into the team's confidence. Yeah, I'm a firm believer. You move the ball around. It's kind of like basketball. Get everyone involved. And now everyone feels a part. Everyone's rolling. Momentum. While we're on the play calling talk, let's talk about running the ball. In that first quarter, they ran the ball down their throats. And then I don't know if Saquon pulled himself out or not, but even if he pulled himself out for one play, you put him right back in there the second play. Then they start running Kenny Gainwell. They end up being forced into a situation where they probably should have took the points, but they went for it. And then they kind of got away from the run for a few drives. Like, we were running the ball down their throats. I mean, we should have just continued that. And I think that would have been, give Saquon 200 yards rushing, I guess the whole injury thing is a reason why not to. And maybe if he pulled himself out of the game, they were, trying to give him a blow. Steve, I think he's out this week again. He is. I'm pretty positive of that. I didn't confirm that, but we got to check it. Missed tackles is a scheme issue. Yeah, missed tackles are atrocious. And this goes back to training camp, in my opinion, that I don't care that he's 4-0 or whatever in opening games. Missed tackles are an issue because they don't hit. They don't hit in the preseason games, and they did increase their hitting this year, I'll say, but in training camp by all beat writers' accounts. But yeah, you're not ready to tackle. You have to be ready to hit. It's football. Like these half tackles, half hesitant tackles, grabbing the jersey. No, man, you lower your shoulder, head up, and you wrap. Damn, Jack, me and Jack Dwight on the same wavelength. Cherry bombs, it's coming. It's coming. I'm teasing you. Fred, in all seriousness, do we need a deep shot there when we have one timeout? No. No way at all. Jalen, that was an atrocious decision-making. I don't blame the coaching staff on that at all. You have to have deep routes to spread the field, okay? And, it was double covered too. Jalen has to see that. You have one timeout, like you said. I'm definitely doing a 10, 15-yard play there. And depending on, maybe they get out of bounds. Maybe we get out of bounds. You run a little drag across the middle. I mean, why can't they catch it and just go out of bounds and then still have the timeout, or use the timeout, get up to the line and spike it? We only needed a field goal. I can't agree more. I thought that was an atrocious throw decision. I know he was kind of hit on it, but he shouldn't have never, even if he didn't get hit, that's getting picked off. Just a bad decision by Jalen Hurts. Cherry bombs, we love them. Oh, I like the tickets, Eric. I just realized that's what you were doing. So now we got cherry bombs, ticket bombs. I'm telling you, we are talking. David Archeri will make an appearance on this show. We're trying to work out when it will work with his schedule. with all the lawyer because he has a lot of hearings and stuff. But he loves it. He's watching it. We know for a fact. The cherry bombs will come, and if we're going to start with some tickets coming, we may have to get Sherry's tickets on here as well. When's the Dolan Bar one? We still didn't do Dolan's Bar's coming too. We're going to go past 9:30 a little bit here. Freddie surpasses Phil in eye contact, but these ad reads need some work. I'm normally awesome at it, K1. Truth be told, rough morning here with the kids. I have 3 kids, getting them out ready for school. There was a lot of screaming and crying this morning. Let's put it that way. So much so, I'm a little off. So you're spot on. They need a ton of work. I'm awful with the reads today. Blankenship is smart, but very limited athletic. Yeah, I'm with you. But Blankenship is a backup safety, as special teams are. Get him off the field. Can't play safety with his build. Yeah, I like him in the slot. He can play safety at times. I like him at safety, but he needs a good complement next to him. I do think that's a problem. I agree, Jack. The Eagles don't look physical. No. And offensively, we can be if we use Saquon Barkley to be that violent guy. But defensively, I agree with you. And that's what smacked us. That's what ended the season last year when the 49ers came in here and their physicality smacked us in the mouth. We look like, beaten down little kids. It was criminal. How bad that the Eagles, they looked that 49ers game was such an eye opener. It was like, dude, we're not ready for these guys. We're laying down, we're getting our butt kicked. Like I said, it was absolutely criminal. So criminal, we should have stopped right there halftime and called David Archerry. We needed a lawyer in that game, and David Archerry could have helped us for the beatdown that was put on us. Call him now, 610-565-0300, www.cherryinjurylaw.com, workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury law, criminal law, and physicality on the defensive end. He will represent you if you're getting your butt kicked. Call David Archerry today. Let him help you out. That one was better, guys. That's more like me. That one was better. But I agree with you, Jack, on the physicality there. I warned you guys, Jordan Davis can't play. Don't be sick when the Eagles don't pick up his shocked. Yeah, I won't be either. They've given him ample time. It's time to go. Howie drafted high next year. Teams go, I don't know if they're going 5-12. I don't. I think they were a play away from being 2-0. I don't think it's that bad. I think the offense is much better than we're given credit for here. I just think, some play calling decisions. I still think they certainly get a wild card or win the division, but 5-12. Well, then Nick would be out, and you're looking at Billy Belichick coming in. Terry Bomb, I love him. Keep him coming. Cameo would be fire. It will happen. Bryce Young will look like a number 1 pick against the players that play this defense. That'll be interesting to see, actually. Cherry bombs. Phil would be so proud. Elite segue. Thank you. That's my normal self, buddy. Whoever was listening last time I filled in, I know Barbara was. I think you all were. You probably don't remember. I was crushing the segues. And the Falcons aren't regarded as a good team defensively. We don't know that yet, though. We don't know that. They have a defensive-minded head coach. They have a lot of good names on that defense. Judon. Oh, my gosh. Why is the safety's name escaping me? Grady Jarrett on the interior. They have good names defensively, and now they have a defensive-minded coach. That's not a fool. Raheem Morris is a great defensive coordinator in this league. He's getting his second shot as a head coach. So I don't know that that's a fact yet. Fangio runs the hybrid 3-4 defense. In that defense, the lineman 2 gap and the 4-3 linemen's penetrate. You're right. You're right there, but there were plays on the run that they penetrated. So, like you said, it's a hybrid. I think he moves it around. So, letter of the law, you're correct. I do think penetration, though, will stop the run. And that can be applied to the scheme the way he runs it. Jalen Carter is Albert Hainsworth in the head. Prove me wrong. Albert Hainsworth was the man until he got paid. He was an absolute beast until he got paid. And he benefited from the wide nine with, came over to the Eagles too and gotten in a fight with Andy. He forced the firing of Juan Castillo, rightfully so. But his name's escaping me here. I'm wiping a tear in my eye, to be honest. Saints is a must win. Yeah, this is going to be tough because the Saints are looking good. The Saints, offensively look a lot better than people have expected. So, they bring in Clint Kubiak, another guy that was on my list for the Eagles, and he's making this offense look pretty well. And they got a ton of weapons on offense. Why not? I don't understand why they would be so bad last year even. You got a ton of weapons. They're looking good. It's your firstborn. So we scored 21 points, and I can count 4 red zone trips in my memory. Yeah, but they stopped us, though. Bates and Simmons make a great safety combo. Yeah, that would be nice. We're not a juggernaut offense. Did I say juggernaut? If I said juggernaut, I'm mistaken. We're a good offense, though. I don't think we're a juggernaut, but I think we'll be a really good offense, and we'll be fine. The first 2 games have reflected that. Even with the turnovers, we moved the ball down the field. Sniff, pretty soon he will be all grown up. Hurts had all day to throw back there mostly, except that last play. Well, there were times he had time and then he pulled it. I thought he ran. I thought he picked his spots running correctly. Jalen Carter is immature. How he invested the wrong big school players. Keely Ringo might be the best. Keely Ringo, I'm out on him completely. I'm a fake Georgia fan, but I rooted for them before. So I'm not an avid college football. Like my Saturday isn't dedicated. It used to be, but with kids, I just have to pick a day. I pick the NFL day. So I follow Georgia, I'll say. And I thought there's a reason he fell, and I don't think Keely Ringo is going to pan out at all. One other thing, and then we'll shift gears to the Phillies, because the Phillies, we got the magic numbers 1, guys. The Eagles comments keep coming in. Jalen Carter, we pop. Outside of this being your job, Freddie, where on God's green earth do you find the motivation to trust this team? This is not my full-time job. My full-time job is home and auto insurance, unfortunately. I hope one day that this is my job where I get paid, but right now that's not the case. We're just trying to build a business to hopefully get everyone paid down the road with the few sponsors we have. Where do you find the motivation to trust this team? They've made the playoffs 3 years in a row. I'm a positive guy, though, in a sense, so that's probably the issue. I can't jump ship after 2 games, though. The offense has shown me too much ability to move the ball that I think the proper adjustments will be made. I am concerned about the defense, no doubt about that, but I think the offense can make this for a year that we will definitely make the playoffs and at least, offensively be confident we can score points every week. Hurts has put Goddard on a milk cart. Yeah, I have him in fantasy. He's not. It's been a while. I mean, he's not the guy how he drafted. He's certainly not the Zach Ertz ilk that we moved on from Ertz for. Yeah, Phillies, woohoo! We're coming. But wait, so Freddy's. So that's Freddy calling me up trying to sell. No. I don't sell it anymore. Actually, I just do the service now. We will if you need some insurance. I'll hook you up with the guy. But have you seen your rates? These are the highest we've ever seen. These insurance rates are the highest I've seen in my 17 years. I'm out, dude. I'm not listening to people yell at me about the price anymore. I get this isn't your full-time job, but Jesus Christ, this team is awful. Awful. I don't see awful. I just don't see awful. I apologize, man. I apologize. I don't see awful. I do agree they make you drink, and so much. I got the bar if you need a drink next Eagles game or even closer to that. Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Ave, Ridley Park, PA. Go to dolansbar.com. They have an amazing menu of food, the garage beer, a ton of great stuff going on through the week. They even have a live show on Tuesdays with Irving Fryer and Hollis Thomas. And then they have every time down there's a former Philly or former Eagle there, hanging out or a part of some type of event. They do a wiffle ball thing that's pretty much end now in the summer with, Mickey Morandini, Tommy Green. I got to do the play-by-play on that one year. It was so awesome. Like sit next to Tommy Green, 93 Philly, and like he's the color guy, and we're breaking down Mickey Morandini doing wiffle ball as he talks crap to the table. It's a great bar. It's got outside, inside. The wings, you got to have the wings. Just go there and try the wings. But Dolan's Bar, Delco Bar, check them out. Let's segue this. Oh, man, I meant to do this. I screwed up on my background here. Can I get it switched now? Not that. Where are we at here? Oh, well. Meant to get like the little background going. But let's segue this into three more comments here. We're going to go to about 9:40-ish. And then I got to get to my insurance job. So wait, Freddie, I get it. Do the Eagles have crash insurance? Oh, pretty soon I'm sure one of them will be doing a Cure auto insurance like every other player in the Philadelphia sports market. What's it? Schwarber, Maxey, Sproles used to do it. I think Malcolm Jenkins might have done one. I'm sure. I'm just waiting for the Fed to cut the rate. It's not the insurance rate. It's not the same rate. There's way more into this, K1. Message me after the show. When the Feds cut the rate, don't mean the insurance rates are going down because the insurance companies weren't allowed to raise the rates in COVID. So there's a long story to this. I'm happy to tell you. But don't wait on the Fed to cut the rate because that ain't going to affect the insurance as much as you think. All right, let's talk about the Philadelphia Phillies. Zach Wheeler with another great outing last night. The magic number with the Braves loss is now down to 1. The Phillies stand top of the National League right now, 91-60. And how many games up is that, though? Hold on here. Got my wrong view here. I have my wild card view, which I do want to discuss something about that. 2 games up. So 2 games up on the Dodgers, now 4 games up on the Brewers. Be nice to get a win today, kind of put the Brewers to bed there. They'll be 5 games ahead at that point. Win today, and we're in the playoffs, right? The question is, who do we want to face in the playoffs is what I kind of wanted to talk about. And I'm looking at the wild card matchups here. And we got the Padres, Diamondbacks, and then Mets, and then the Braves are now 2 games out of that wild card. And if I'm being honest, I want to face the Braves. I kind of don't want to face any of these teams. They remind me of maybe one of these, even though the Diamondbacks are on a little bit of a losing streak here. I think they've lost 2 in a row. The Padres lost as of late, but they're 6-4 their last 10. And then the Mets have been on a run. They've won their last 2, 6-4 their last 10. I don't know who I want to play here in that next round, and will the time off help us? A couple more comments coming in. 3 likes, don't get that one. Why do fans have more patience with Nola than Suarez? Suarez is a one. We'll jump right into that now before I get into this wild card thing. Suarez is a concern because Suarez, doesn't have it. He just seems like he has a dead arm. He just seems like he doesn't have the control and the velocity that he once had before he got injured. So that's kind of my question is, knowing we're 1 game away from clinching a playoff berth, would you just sit him down? Just sit him down and rest him further? Or is it just a mental game, as he says, he's in his own head, and that's the issue? I definitely have patience for Suarez, but I'm kind of at the point here where he might be my 4. And going into the playoffs, I'm strongly considering Christopher Sanchez being the 3. I don't know your thoughts on that. Christopher Sanchez after the All-Star break, he struggled a bit. He wasn't the same, but the last 2 outings of late, he's been back to the All-Star form. And I'm curious your opinions on that. I personally do believe the pass to Barkley was the wrong call. I mean, it was the wrong call to pass, but if he caught the ball, I mean, it's a first down. It's hard to call it a wrong call to me. 7. How is the Eagles' offense good when they can't even run a play without getting a – well, that's the play calling, man. That's a stupid play call. I'm with you on that, mister. But, they were running the ball. They were gashing them. It's more the play calling than it is the offense. I'm telling you. And I think if they adjust, continue to run the ball, get away from these screens on the outside. 7 targets to Covey. 5 of them were these bubble screens, 4 or 5. You take those plays out and run regular plays or run plays, it's totally different. A bad game for Suarez is 4 runs. I think he gave up 5. 4 runs, yeah, but that your 3 starters should be giving up 2, 3. Your 5th guy should be giving up 4. So, like, I know more than 4 runs, you should win the game. But in the playoffs, we can't have the meltdowns. Like, it can't be that. Some of these games, every run counts in the playoffs, and I'm just concerned. And Sanchez, for the most part, keeps the ball on the ground, doesn't give up the long ball, and it may be a depth to playoff baseball. With that said, I love Suarez. I would sit him down and then let him go and see what we got, but I'm not out on him. But I'm really strongly considering it being Sanchez as the third guy. Philly should test players now a couple of games to get them fresh. What do you mean, Barbara? Like what players? Because I feel like the injuries have kind of made them test everyone, right? They got some decisions to make here for the lineup. Like, who do you keep? Clemens, yeah, Cody Clemens has been so clutch, but then as of late now, Buddy Kennedy's been pretty clutch. So has been Cal Stevenson. So like, who do you keep here? You've given them maybe give them more playing time, I guess, and the best man wins. Which players in particular would you test? Not the Braves. No, I don't know, Jack. They're like on a free for all, man. Why would you not want them? Do you feel like it's been so many in a row that we've beaten them that we're jinxing themselves? I don't. They're probably not. They're borderline not going to make the playoffs right now. They've lost 3 in a row, 4 of their last 6. 81 and 70 now. I don't know. Would you rather have the second seed? Have the second seed so that you end up playing. What would it be? The Mets, since they don't reseed. Well, I don't know. The Mets would have to win their play-in game. So I also think it would be absolutely amazing to have a playoff series against the Mets. It would be really cool. The Mets fans will come down here, though. It will be like the Knicks, I don't think it'll be like the Knicks because Sixers fans are just done with the playoffs type thing. Like they're done with the first round. They sold their tickets to make their money back because the price gouging of the regular season tickets have gone up. But, it will be cool. But I think Philly fans will go up there too. It would be a cool series. The Braves are the worst of the teams trying for the playoffs. Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, people might have been scared of the Braves. I still wanted the Braves even at their best because I'm scared of the Mets kind of. But we just took it from the Mets, though, too. So maybe I'm not. Maybe we just got to play our game. Is the bye week going to affect us? Sanchez has outpitched Noah by far. This year? I don't know. Noah had maybe 3 struggles for me. He gave up the home run ball. Sanchez had a spurt. In the first half, he was like crazy. Like all our pitchers, though, were. Like in the first half, back to Suarez, he was 10-1 with like a 1.75 ERA. Second half, he has like a 5.7 ERA. So like to work it out, like he's bad. You know what I mean? I know you said 4 runs a game and maybe as of late, but it hasn't been. It's been kind of worse than that. I don't think he's outpitched Noah. I think Noah's pitched very well. Probably the most consistent. I don't think he's been that inconsistent this year. I'm normally crushing Noah. I've always said he's a 2-3. He's not a 1. I've always said that, but I think this year has been better than others. Sale would kill us. He could. We live and die by the bats. Though I'll say we've been winning games with low runs and having not home runs, timely hitting to win us games as of late, which is what I think we need to be ready for the playoffs. Because when the bats die, when the home run ball dies, and it will, we need to be ready. Rest Harper, Schwarber, avoid injuries. Oh, it'd be so hard to rest Harper right now, though, Barbara. He's on a tear. It's like to sit him down when he's finally getting rolling here. I don't know. I know you want to avoid injuries, but, oh, man, it would be nice to just have him on this streak going into the playoffs. Then again, it is 2 weeks away. If we get the bye, we're looking at October 5th. That's a lot of time to sit them. We're probably going to get the bye, let's say. That's a lot of time sitting. Fried would be tough, too. He would. Ozuna hasn't driven in a run in a month. Keep playing the starters. Winning is a mentality. Don't lose that mentality. I lean that way, mister. I lean that way. Maybe more days off though. Maybe give them a day, maybe all Sunday off. If we got a clinch, they play 2, off 1, something like that. No afraid of any team, Amber. I said Sanchez outpitched Nola, not Suarez. Yeah, I know, but then I went back to your Suarez comment initially because you said the 4 runs as I was thinking about the ERA when it being 5.72. I don't think he outpitched Nola though, Sanchez. I don't. And a lot of his stuff is ground balls, which I'm glad he's getting. And the last 2 starts have been better, but he did have a little run there after the All-Star game where he did not look good at all, and it looked like, oh boy, this was just a first half. I don't know, lightning in a bottle thing. So, who would have thought Boom wouldn't get 100 RBIs? I think him being out for all these weeks is a reason for that, right? You know, he would have if he wasn't hurt. So, hopefully we get Boom back, but. 940, again, I want to say a special happy anniversary to Phil Stifle. Why don't we get that in the comments? The cherry bombs, can we get a bunch of happy anniversaries I can pop up there? I know you probably said it to him, directly when he's live on the show, but today is the actual day. Happy anniversary to Phil and his wife. I hope they enjoy Cancun and have a tremendous time. This is such an amazing show. Please continue to tune in. I know the timing this week have been off with Phil being in Cancun and me with my issues starting at 8:30 today. But the greatest morning show out there. Check out Phil Stifle every week, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. For Phil Stifle, I am Freddie Burns. We will see you tomorrow on Trending in the AM.